Okay, I once said, well, I put text down at the bottom of the screen that Andrew Garfield was my pick from packs of Peter Parkers. I have a new pick. Tom Holland is Peter Parker. And I just... Okay, I've had such a relationship with the Spider-Man movies in all their various forms. Even the TV movie from the 1970s, had I bought that when I was a little kid, and I watched it on VHS. Well, it's something. Anyway, my point is, I'm happy with it. I have no complaints. No, really, I don't. I can't really think of anything to criticize about the new Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Homecoming. Co-produced by Marvel Studios and Sony, directed by Tom Watts. I really like it. That's it. That's all I can say. It's really brought a freaking smile to my face. Just when I was a little kid, my mom made me this fantastic full-body Spider-Man costume, and this really brought it back for me. Just see Tom Holland dressing up in his... and it was funny and exciting and iconic, and... yeah. I ain't gonna make this a multi-tier review. I'm not gonna put a dozen videos like I did for Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man movies. No. That's all I have to say. I just really liked it, and I'm really glad. It makes me feel at peace with what I've been through with the Spider-Man movies. I was so invested with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films, and it broke my heart when they broke off with that, and then came Sony's other movies with Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, and they were okay. That was the best I could say for them, but now, finally, with this, if it's all led to this, I can be at peace with everything that's come before. Because I'm not going to say that it's necessarily better than Spider-Man 1 and 2. Those were fantastic movies in their own rights, but that's in their own right. This is so much its own thing, and yet still intrinsically Spider-Man, that it's just... Of course, the theme song isn't as great as Danny Elfman's soaring score for the Sam Raimi films, but that's okay. It's better than what we got for Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man films. I mentioned this. The musical score for Amazing Spider-Man was so cliche, but the music in this movie, in Homecoming, it has elements both of grandeur and humility, and I could go on about every aspect of it. Michael Keaton was great as the Vulture, made another really sympathetic and yet threatening villain. Just, that guy's on a bit of a roll, with playing super characters themed after flying creatures. This movie had so few things that we identify with Spider-Man. It didn't have the Daily Bugle. It didn't have actually, it did have a lot of things. The Daily Bugle is a big thing, so whenever it's not there, I tend to notice. But never mind. For whatever it didn't have, it had something else, or brought something to the formula that felt totally natural, just an extension of the character. It's just... I liked it, and that's all I can think to say. I can't even make this funny in any way. I'll probably add text down at the bottom, which makes fun of me like I usually do, but yeah, just really left me with a warm feeling inside, That childlike wonder and whimsy, and really made me think back on my own youth, back when I was in high school, Of course, I missed out on a few things. I didn't go to my homecoming dance. I didn't have a date. But that's okay, because we have movies like this so that we can live vicariously through our heroes. Yeah, and it had that scene. Okay, there's this iconic scene from Spider-Man. That's my word of the day, iconic. But there's this scene way back in classic Spider-Man comic book number, I forget which, but where he has to get medicine to Aunt May, and he gets pinned under machinery. You know, he's like, even with all my spider strength, I can't reach the medicine. Pinned underneath this Kirby-esque bit of weird machinery. They had that moment in this movie and all the previous movies. I would always just think about that scene briefly and think, oh, well, it's kind of a shame they haven't gotten around to adapting that scene where Spider-Man's pinned under the machinery. They had that scene. I'm not going to spoil too much about it. This is going to be a spoiler-free video, more or less, but they have a scene where he's pinned and he has to gather himself and lift up the machinery. That moment. Okay, you know what? I'm not even going to say anything else about it, because if you haven't seen it, I want you to go see it. And if you have seen it, I can't add anything to it. So, yeah, just friggin' A+. I got no complaints. I can complain about anything. Maybe I'll think of something later. All the more reason for me to cut this short. Yeah, that's all I'm going to give you. Just Spider-Man, yeah. My guy, my superhero. Everybody's got a prime superhero. I think on some level, Spider-Man's probably mine. I used to fancy myself a kind of Peter Parker. I still do. You know, here's my Peter Parker face. Did it work? Well, the beard. You could say I'm the elder Peter Parker from the Spider-Girl series when he grows a beard. Yeah, that's me. Except I don't have a daughter. Okay. It was amazing. Spider-Man.